MaryLiz, thank you so much for joining us. We're very lucky to have you. I'm quite excited to talk to you a lot about your background and your education as the sort of catalyst for developing Goodpix. I know you have graduated from coding school and business school, which is incredible. What made you get into coding to begin with?
Well, thank you for having me, Sarah. I'm thrilled to be on your podcast, and thanks for asking me to share my story. So I learned how to code after my background is actually in payments. I was in financial services, working for a small business and consumer credit bank in the U.S. and actually for Visa, and my client was a bank. And then I went into, that was after consulting, and then I went into retail entrepreneurship. So I ran my own women's boutique. I had 3 locations and 2 websites. It was multi-brand, women's, kids, premium, and luxury brands. We carried about 100 different brands. And I knew that I needed technology to scale a lot of the customer service that we were providing, which was our true differentiator. And I wanted to understand how technology worked so that I could come up with a platform to help solve the problems I was facing in retail.
I know that you're very passionate about education and how it can change that trajectory of one's career. And typically, if you are in the fashion industry or you're within retail, you own a business, it's not necessarily the most common path to then go in and learn the back-end coding. But that was just such an entrepreneurial drive, it seems, of yours to understand how it all connects and how it all works so you can then be at the forefront of change.
Yes, I do wish that more of us were learning how to code, and not necessarily if you are going to do it on a day-to-day basis, but technology is certainly changing our lives on a daily basis. And I think even to experience that education of how do I solve a problem? How do I create technology to make things more scalable and easier? How do I cross geographical barriers and leverage technology to solve a lot of those problems? So learning how to code was really, not because I wanted to code every day, but I really wanted to understand what is under the hood. And then there are so many careers in technology around product development. So how do you design things that make for a great customer experience? Everything from product development down to the nooks and crannies of making things work well. And I wanted to understand that at a very deep level. So it was interesting. I certainly wasn't your typical student. It's definitely older, female, and had a lot more business experience than most of the people that I was in the class with. So when it got down to SQL tables, I was really nailing it. And when I got into some of the coding, it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So great learning experience.
So let's go back. It was Perchance Boutique, am I right?
Yes.
Yes. And so the locations, was it New York, one of the locations?
No, they were all in Chicago, mostly the Gold Coast and then Lincoln Park.
That's right. And so tell me a little bit about the client experience that you were already making headway with in terms of personalizing that, because I think understanding that then sets the path for what you've developed with Pixavo and then Goodpix.
Yes, thank you. So Perchance was, as I mentioned, physical stores, but we also had websites. And we did most of our business in store in terms of the service. However, we did a lot of personalization in our clients' homes or over the phone, providing custom styling. So we used tools like PowerPoint, or we'd be in people's homes and literally do the laydowns with photographing their outfits and pulling things from their closet, advising them, thinking about what they had purchased in the past, and suggesting new pieces with what they had already worn. This was a service, most of our clients, especially back then when e-commerce was really taking off, you could buy anything you wanted at any point, right? The reason that our clients shopped with us was for the service. It was for understanding which women, didn't like their upper arms, or which women were allergic to cashmere, or which women, were sort of having a lifestyle change or had, body changes. And so we really understood them on a level that was quite different from, where many of our retail competitors were. And we created this experience both of curation to the extent that we would buy particularly for our top clients. But then when that inventory would come in, we would be thinking about how we were going to style them. I mean, to the point where we were creating these laydowns and outfits and even laminated them so that women could get dressed in the morning and refer back to, okay, what am I wearing? Yeah, it was really a service that they loved and went beyond. And I think a big piece of that is certainly solving a problem. And that's why I believe that this is the moment for personal stylists, because I think that they are really, they are serving a need in a very, very, kind of overwhelming landscape of options. And I think by curating, styling, and personalizing, the personal stylist is in such a unique position, and I think is really going to change how retail looks, because I think that service is so needed.
Completely. And I'm always interested to meet other professionals within the industry that feel as I do, which is that the stylist plays a pivotal role on behalf of brands, or indirectly on behalf of brands, by bringing product and to customers and showing them how to use it and building up that loyalty. It is the ultimate personalized experience that brands and marketing teams within brands are always trying to create for their own customer base. So I know that part of your vision is to connect the brand, the customer, the stylist, to sort of reinvent the landscape, which I absolutely love. And there's some other women that I've spoken to in the past who feel the same way, but everyone's bringing a different kind of direction. So I know when you moved from Perchance, you then launched Pixavo, am I right?
Yes. So in going from, running a retail operation where we would differentiate on service to thinking about how technology could help that, there are lots of different ways that you just mentioned where you could really scale that. And there's certainly data and algorithms, and I think there's a great role for that. I also think there's this idea of helping to scale and make a stylist, the human touch, more efficient. So there are some things that, data and algorithms are just going to miss. As much as we'd like to make sure that we're document a lot of that data, it just can't be perfect. It's not going to capture the art of styling and the art of understanding your customer and what you can bring to her. I think that human nature is really that we want to be understood, appreciated, and loved is my saying that I always say it. And I think in leveraging technology to say, okay, what are the tasks that a stylist does, or a really fantastic retail sales associate who you may have had a relationship with. She sort of understands you, she understands your lifestyle, she understands what you're trying to achieve, how you want to feel, what you want to project, where you are in whether it's career or even just your entire lifestyle, what it is that you're trying to achieve, what problem you're trying to solve, and then make it uniquely about that person. And so there is a ton of manual effort that goes into that. Yeah. And part of, Perchance was saying, not only is that all changing, but we're busier. So it's interesting. Pixavo was really meant to help solve for the retail sales associate to be able to sell digitally and remotely. And the idea there was, we know that we get a higher average order when we bring that person into a store, but people are busy. And it was getting harder to get people to come into a trunk show, to come into the store. And so how could we give the same service digitally and remotely that we would have given to them in person? So interesting now that we're in a
great
pandemic.
Question.
And it's the same solution, but for a different reason, right? You physically can't go into a store, or you might choose not to because you don't feel safe. So Pixavo was really a technology platform that we sold to brands and retailers to give to their retail sales associates to provide a better experience to the client. So it had CRM capability, a mobile point of sale. So if you did come in, I could give you the same, kind of keep track. And it was incredibly visual, digital styling, be able to sell remotely, send you looks and recommendations, and you could check out really easily in an app. So we white labeled that platform for multiple brands and retailers. And the pivot, well, before I explain the pivot from Pixavo going to Goodpix, what's important about, Pixavo and what it solved is, again, digitizing some of the human elements. So if I didn't have Pixavo and I was working for a brand and retailer, the way that I might provide service to you virtually or digitally is I would send you a bunch of links. I might go to a website, copy paste. I might pull up PowerPoint, create these looks. I would look into your past purchase history into a different system. Then I would go into another system. Our number one client that we had at Perchance actually lived in Canada and never once visited our store. And at one point, and we would do everything over the phone. This is back before Zoom. It was before, we would do everything over the phone, and a lot of back and forth via email, lots of PowerPoint presentations. And at one point I asked her, why do you shop with us? You could shop anywhere. You could even shop directly from these brands. They have e-com site. And she said, I come to you because you're always honest. Mm-hmm. You always think about, it was always about authenticity and thinking of her as a long-term client, not just how am I going to get this one sale. Mm-hmm. And because we were successful, we built up that trust and authenticity, and she kept coming back. So Pixavo was really about digitizing that. And then I can tell you about Goodpix when you're ready for that.
Yes. I just want to hone in on this point, which is so important. And it's kind of redundant for me to say it to you because we're on the same page. It's more sort of broadly speaking, from a brand's perspective, even shopping centers, department stores, that trust and that personalized experience where the transaction is long-term, it's relationship-based, it's relevant to that person's wardrobe as well as their purchase behavior. I think that's the difference, one of the differences between something you're developing and, let's say, AI businesses that are basing their decisions on purchasing, the algorithm, on purchasing behavior. I continue to buy things that will never be worn because of that sort of instant, it looked good online or I felt like it at the time. And then it sits in my wardrobe. So to just rely solely moving forward on predictive analytics to tell me what I continue buying. I don't need any more fluoro green coats. I'm not wearing the one I bought last week. So you really do need that personal touch. And that's where the power comes in for brands, I think, that are able to adopt this new method at the true headspace of personalization, which means almost providing everyone with their own kind of consultant / stylist.
Yeah, you just brought up 2 points that I think are interesting, because I think also about myself and how is it that we continually go to our closet and say, I have nothing to wear. And I'm in this space, right? And I've bought, millions of dollars worth of clothes that I sold to other people, right? So if I think about that, I think what it says is there's a disconnect between when you are shopping and what's being presented to you, which is based on past purchase history, right? These algorithms can't necessarily get into my head. And they're certainly not in the moment where I'm standing there and saying, I really wish I had a really great basic, denim jacket that can be dressed up or down, that can, is comfortable, that gives me the coverage that I want. And sort of the problem that you're trying to solve in the moment.
Exactly.
Or the holes that are in your closet. And a personal stylist does that. They know. And the second point is a personal stylist is thinking, and also a really great retail sales associate is thinking about, they get such a thrill out of a client coming back and saying, I love that piece you told me to get. I wear it a million times. Mm-hmm. That's how you know you've been successful in a purchase. And so to your point, if you're looking at, 200 pieces in your closet and we only wear 20% of what's in our closet. 80% of the data is bad data.
Such a good point. Such a great soundbite as well for the podcast. So hire a stylist today.
Yes.
So let's get into Goodpix, because I think what's interesting is with Pixavo, your kind of first entry into founding a tech platform, that seemed to be more focused on the brands using the tech to help with their customers. And I know with Goodpix and the way that we've been working together, it's very much for the image expert to be able to create her own, his or no gender, their own scalable business on this incredible digital platform. So let's start from the beginning. What was the pivot for, and how did we get there?
Yes. So middle of last year, I realized something. The people who were using our technology platform, especially a large cohort of one of our biggest clients, really wanted to cross-sell other brands. And to be authentic, they wanted the ability to say, I don't want to just be a marketing arm and push all of this product on you, because that's what's being pushed from brand and marketing. First of all. Second, I want to be able to augment what I'm suggesting with other items you may have in your closet, or with a shoe from this brand, an accessory from that brand. And, our denim isn't that great. You should go with this denim line, given your body type, or this particular style. And so what I realized is many of our users who were using the platform were asking for things like, hey, I want to put together a style board that includes other products. And so if you're the brand paying for that technology platform, there's a conflict of interest, right? I don't necessarily want you to be showing other brands, even though that's in the best interest of not only the sales associate, but also her, his or her client.
Yes.
That was one piece. And I started to realize that this independent entrepreneur, and I call them a relationship-based entrepreneur.
Yeah, I love that.
So someone who's a personal stylist, someone who might be selling a direct brand or in direct marketing, really wanted to be so authentic. Instead of being a marketing arm, they wanted to be authentic, and they wanted to recommend the right thing for the right customer. And so I asked myself, what kind of business do I want to be in? Do I want to be in the business of, where the brand is my first, customer, or do I want to empower what I really believe is the future, and I call them the people channel. I believe the future is going to be these independent relationship-based entrepreneurs. They're almost mini storefronts without all of the inventory I had to buy as a retail entrepreneur, where I had to invest in, you don't need to do that. You can recommend from hundreds, thousands of brands and retailers across the globe and earn a commission on that, and just focus on your craft. So
it's such a good point.
Provide an in-person.
So, sorry, MaryLiz, I have to stop you with what you just said before, which is just so key for anyone starting a business. Asking yourself, what is the business I'm in? What am I in the business of? And that sort of shift, and the mindset shift, is an incredibly powerful directive for you to be able to build the business that you want. So I think that's a sort of a strategic gold nugget right there.
Yes, I think so. I think it is, back to your point, what is exciting and what is sort of game changing. And I think, we first and foremost power the entrepreneur because they certainly need tools to scale themselves and all the amazing service that they're giving. And I truly believe that they are the future. On the brand side, we're serving a really amazing, purpose for them as well, because it's truly this digitized sales force who already has clients. They already have customers. They already have clients. Yes. They're growing more.
The brand doesn't need to pay for them. It's a free staff member for their brand.
Right. And so we want to be the go-between of providing, inspiration, product knowledge, training, all of the different things that sort of are in my vision. And ideally, this relationship-based entrepreneur is, her own digital storefront, selling from any brand that is right for her customer at any time, maybe perhaps on sale, and she's earning commission by, but also saving a ton of time and then creating content that's going to help her market herself. And that to me was so much more exciting than powering the brand first. I was much more excited about empowering, maybe because I'm an entrepreneur myself, it seemed it's a lot more exciting. And I think it's the future. And then the pandemic happened. Right before
Which, we don't, that was a pause where both of us probably went, we don't want to say, the silver lining, but it has been a really important reminder for people of the importance and the opportunities of digital tools and tech. As you know, together with the Style Core and the Styling Advisory, we've been talking to stylists around the world about how to pivot their business online. So thankfully, Goodpix was set up and ready to go come, March this year, when all of a sudden it became impossible for stylists to work in a physical space with another client.
Yes, I think... again, the timing is interesting because so many of these, the pandemic really, I don't want to say caused a lot of these sort of changes, but I think there were underlying shifts, underlying trends, like I talked about. We need to be able to give the same kind of service digitally that we could give in person. Whether it's because people are busier, which is not the case now, or if it's because they physically can't or don't want to come into spaces. So that was number one. And then I think number two, the retail industry shifting into what are my channels, right? Wholesale has become very difficult with the department stores. What are my channels? How can I leverage in a pay-for-performance way a great experience for end customers to experience my brand through a knowledgeable, talented, medium, which is personal stylists and the people that we power. And I think that was sort of already underlying anyway. A lot of those shifts were already happening anyway, where the brands really needed to rethink, and everything's expensive. If you just go online, it's expensive to acquire customers. It's 5 times more expensive to acquire a customer now than it was 5 years ago. You go into a physical space, it's super expensive to launch a store in person. And so the channel that we really want to promote and empower is this people channel, which doesn't cost anything other than pay for performance.
Yes, and also I think one of the underlying opportunities that the styling industry hadn't necessarily capitalised on until platforms like Goodpix and indeed COVID as an external factor to sort of trigger that change is the e-com space. As a consumer myself, I know I'm always online looking at product. And until let's say Goodpix and other digital tools, the stylists couldn't really inject themselves into my online experience and help guide my purchasing decisions. It was more of you'll either come to my home and help me with a wardrobe edit, or we'll go into a store and, it's a sort of 3-4 hour investment of my time to go through the shopping. But one of the things I think that I got so excited about when I discovered Goodpix was the ability for stylists to commercialize another area of shopping and styling that had previously been an unpaid for experience. Yes. So tell for the listeners, let's explain how they use Goodpix for the stylists.
Sure. So when they create an account, they have the ability to shop from 200 plus retail partners and create shoppable content. The shoppable content, because we're really big into content, is really the way that you sell one-to-many. So I can create a storefront and sell one-to-many, but my clienteling piece of it really is about, show me how it all comes together. If you're going to make a recommendation on, a blouse and a jacket and a pant, I want to know how to wear it. I want to know how the whole thing comes together. So we created, and we did a lot. We spent a lot of time, months and months, gathering feedback from the personal stylists who ran our MVP, which started in Pixavo actually. And many of them said, I want a way to organize. So we created collections. So the type of shoppable content is either a style board where you drag and drop items right onto your board. And those products are then attached to that board. And then there's also an image. So taking a photo and then tagging the photo with shoppable product. There's also video. So imagine a personal stylist is saying, okay, this is how you're going to wear this outfit. You're going to roll up your sleeves. You're going to do a scarf like this, to sort of explain. A video then can become shoppable, which I also think is very exciting. And then how can you organize it? You can create product groups, which should be single products into a group. Let's say I was to say, Sarah, I pulled together 8 great blouses that I think would be perfect for your Zoom podcast. And I'd
say thank you. Send them
8
through.
recommendations. I'm sending these 8 recommendations to you. And so it's really and then the collections can be, multiple pieces of shoppable content. Many of the personal stylists said, sometimes I'm putting together, a collection of outfits someone might wear on a trip, or their business meetings, or, some kind of theme. And that's really how we came up with the organization. And then on the really big piece for Goodpix is the client microsites. So this is a way for the stylist to have a visual CRM where she can create all this content, put it into this client site, which is literally a website. For instance, if I were your stylist, there would be a single page that's between you and me where I can comment on certain products. You can ask me questions. I can put all your outfits there. And then we can add items to your closet and owned, and then I can make a new outfit out of what you've already purchased. You can upload to your own section, or I can upload to your own section. We have a lot more that we're building as part of that, but this is super unique because now you're giving your client a modern digital website that's just between you and your client, to privately share without all of these clunky links. So she can save that link to her phone, and anytime she wants to reference back, okay, so instead of the laminated outfits, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what am I supposed to wear with that? Or how did she, okay, I just need some inspiration for what she told me to wear. And it's all, online. I can just go and click it and see what she shared with me.
It's absolutely incredible. And I know that a lot of stylists that I've been speaking to over the previous few months have signed up and are really, really enjoying being able to create this modern, contemporary and digital styling experience, which is the wardrobe guidance, the styling, the recommendations, the personal sort of expertise and styling guidance through video. Tell me from the feedback that you've received from Goodpix members or users, what have been some of the success stories or innovative ways that stylists are starting to generate revenue from this tool?
Yes, great question. So one of the, we do a lot of coaching calls, and I'm also doing a founder masterclass where we're going through all these different pieces for everything from marketing down to kind of one-on-one. And what we're hearing, a couple of great examples of how people are using Goodpix. So pivoting their businesses into some sort of recurring digitized service where I might put together X number of recommendations, X number of lookbooks per month. And that could be me shopping certain sales that are coming from certain retailers and just putting it together for you on an ongoing basis. The reason Goodpix is unique in that way is that all of the content that you create can be templatized. So I can reuse that. So if I make something for you, I've made this beautiful style board. I can then take that. Let's say I made something for you specifically that might be based on a persona, and you might be one of the 3 personas that I serve. And so I can create a template for that persona. And then, Jane might be in your persona, but may not like the color chartreuse. So I would swap that piece out, and I can start scaling myself by offering, because what we talk about is you certainly want to, keep your revenue as high as you possibly can. If you do need to bring things down, or as I say, kind of democratize personal styling,
yes,
to bring it down to a level that is sort of, everyday, the everyday person can get this kind of service from you, you have to bring your cost down. And for personal stylists, time is money. So if I can bring down my time that it takes to create that board, and I can start reusing it, I have this beautiful library from which I can choose and organize and tag, and I can pull that up and say, okay, I made this for Sarah. Now I'm going to make one for Jane, and I'm going to make a couple of edits. Bam, I send it to her. I copy the link and send it to Jane, and Jane gets this experience. And I was able to do it in, minutes instead of hours. So I think that's a great use case of how technology is not only helping you, grow and attract new clients through shoppable content and sort of giving your own personal taste, but it's really about how do you save time?
Such a great idea, as opposed to creating those custom boards, shoppable boards, style boards. I know various image experts use different language, but essentially the sort of flat lay, product shots with links to purchase, being able to develop and disseminate those at scale is a really great opportunity. But you're so right. You also have to balance up how long it takes to do that. And what I think is a really exciting opportunity now, with the advent of all these other memberships and subscriptions that we as just general people sign up for, whether it's Netflix, whether it's some sort of online course, people feel quite comfortable spending a small increment on a monthly recurring basis. And so there is an opportunity, as you said, great phrase, democratizing personal styling, to be able to offer a styling service that is a recurring source of revenue, that you can scale, that you can offer to more and more people. But the mindset shift needs to change of this is now no longer the, $1,000 kind of concentrated, customized service one-to-one. You need to think about how you can recreate that in a convenient time and cost-effective way. So I think that is a really, really powerful opportunity for people that are looking to turbocharge their business now.
Yeah, great point. I think the other thing that's changed, and as you have shared in your class that you've been providing, is this idea that it used to be, so in technology terms, they call it synchronous. So it used to be that you had to come together and have, a meeting where I was in your closet to be able to serve you, or we went on a shopping trip, right? Yep. Now you really created this experience for asynchronous work. So I might have an experience, with you by understanding what you're looking for, but then if I'm a working mom and I'm now thinking about, okay, what could I provide to Sarah? I might be doing that at 10 p.m. and I can whip that up and get that up. And then I'm ready in the morning to say, Sarah, I've put together your board. And that's really changed the game, because it allows people to, especially with what's going on right now, be able to live their lives and create such value asynchronously. So not at the same time. I think that is a major game changer. And it's just, it requires a shift, and also in kind of educating your client, here's what I will do for you. And because I have this technology, I can do it for less. I can kind of democratize this, which means I can reach more customers than I could have in the past.
MaryLiz, I cannot tell you how incredible that content is that you've just shared. When I hear really exciting things and I know we're videoing, I'm like, just keep it together. But I just want to yell and be like, yes, that is exactly what people need to hear. That's such a fundamental shift. I love the term asynchronous. I haven't heard it before, but I'm now going to use it a lot. The fact is that so many image experts are doing this as a side hustle. It's a passion that they've always wanted to pursue. And so this is the perfect time to be able to do that, where you do not need to be reliant upon that one-to-one client time, which is impossible for many who are already working a 9-to-5, let's say. So the fact that you can be effectively running a business, individually, separate from the client, at a time that's convenient for you, particularly for working mums. All of us are just trying to fit in the work around wonderful homeschooling and, all of the other sort of, I guess, pressures we have on us. So This is a really, really exciting time for stylists. And I know that a lot of the stylists that have spent the last, 10 years or 5 years building up a business in the physical sense now have the task of re-educating their client base on how they'll be working in this new medium. Do you have any advice for those stylists and image experts that are having to kind of transition their existing client base over to the digital from the analog?
Yes, and we've talked a lot about, many of our members, they like to talk about, how am I going to acquire more customers? My goal is to acquire more customers, and I think that's, you definitely should, right? You need to acquire more customers, but you have a wealth sitting right there in front of you, this client base, whether it's 10 clients or you've got, 1,000 clients, you have these amazing clients. What if you took 10 minutes, for each client, and maybe you could cover, 6 clients in a day, and you just thought about that client and you thought, where is she in her life? What is she doing? How has her life changed, right? What might her needs be? And even take a moment to put together a quick style board. Again, you can start reusing these so you can make it a little bit faster and say,
thinking of
Kelly,
you.
Thinking of you, and I found this piece. It happens to be on sale. By the way, I've created a new digital service. Again, saying I've created a new digital service for X dollars a month, or whatever it might be. I'm able to send you kind of let me do the curation for you, because the shopping landscape is overwhelming. Also, there's a new sense, I think, in the world of people wanting to really love and wear what they bought. This idea of excess and spur of the moment, shopping is just not happening, right, as much anymore. And we all know how much, shopping can be a therapy, but I think we have to be mindful of the fact that there's a massive opportunity to touch base with these clients and say, I know that you're not traveling as much as you were, but you might need blouses. In fact, I personally need blouses, right? So
we all need blouses. I don't know what it is, but we need lots of them, and we need them quickly.
We should design our own line. So let me curate for you. Let me pull together, 10 pieces, or I did curate for you. Like, look at this adorable outfit. This would be great for you to run around with your kids, but on the weekend, but then you're going to dress it up with a blazer for your Zoom call on Monday, and just reach out in the most, because we're hearing from stylists say, well, my clients are saying they're not buying anything and they don't want anything, and this is awkward, and I don't know how to talk to them right now. You do know how to talk to them. Certain things haven't changed. The psychographics of people wanting to look and feel their best, whether it's at their best friend's barbecue, and maybe there's only the best friend is there, or they're hanging out with their friends.
It's a massive barbecue. You're right. You're right. They've also, all of us have a full closet of clothing, a genuinely full closet of clothing. This is what I've been saying as well. It's time to style. So, you can use Goodpix to reimagine the existing pieces from your wardrobe. That's something that I wanted to make sure everyone knows. For those stylists that have typically taken photographs of each individual garment, from the client, and then they're being saved in Dropbox or an album on your phone or whatever. With Goodpix, you can then upload all of the imagery, all of the images of their wardrobe, and then you can create mini style boards and recreate outfits. So, if I received an email saying, Sarah, I am going to create 30 new outfits from things you've already got in your closet. That is a service I would pay for, because it's giving me newness, which is what, which satiates that need for me to spend or rediscover. But it's also intrinsically rooted in value, because I don't, I'm happy to spend, let's say, $100 for someone to do that, because I'm not spending any money with new products. So it's such a great way of reaching out and continually providing value to your existing clients without feeling the need to say you've got to spend and buy more.
Right. And it's, we want to be mindful to not be, tone deaf. We want to be thoughtful and mindful. And this is also sales 101, by the way. When I had my boutique, we would say, I'm sure you already have a great black blazer. I'm going to show you how to wear this with the black blazer to work, but then with sandals, and something for the weekend. And so 9 times out of 10, first of all, it helps sell the thing that we're selling. But a lot of times and we would say, you already have a black blazer in your closet. They would say, I do, but this actually would be a great replacement because I can see it. So there is an opportunity to have that conversation about editing, using what you have, maybe in different ways, but then also, are there opportunities for replacement?
Oh, this is a good interview. This is gold. I'm so pumped. MaryLiz, I think we'll wrap up there. But I just wanted to say that I'm so thankful. It's quite obvious you have such an incredible repository of knowledge, the business side, having an MBA and having that sort of sales it's not 101, it's the sort of graduate, honors sales. So for any stylist that's looking to sign up to a tool, I love the fact that you do provide all of these webinars and the resources that you do to help them get the best of this new business model. So I wanted to thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much.
I love
more
what
to
you're
talk
doing.
about.
You are a huge value to the personal stylists who are looking for so much help for everything from designing the strategic, direction of their businesses, sort of pivoting during this moment, and also everything from marketing down to the everyday task. So I know that you're creating huge value. Thank you for including me. Thank you for the conversation.